Hi, everyone. This is Betty. Thanks for joining us. And today I'm really excited to have Jenna Gegg from Salesforce. She's a public cloud cost manager. I'm really excited to talk about what's going on at Salesforce from their cloud journey and how they're working with cloud management tools to optimize their cloud operations. Tell us a little bit about how the cloud journey started at Salesforce.
I think I'll start with how my journey got started at Salesforce. I actually joined Salesforce via the Tableau acquisition. I joined Tableau about 2 years ago, really focused on their public cloud journey and public cloud cost efforts. And so then through the acquisition of Tableau by Salesforce, have joined the Salesforce family, and more recently have taken on a broader focus of public cloud cost across Salesforce, so expanding beyond Tableau to the broader company.
An interesting point that you just brought up is that you were brought in at the beginning of Tableau's cloud journey. So tell us a little bit about that. Like, what was Tableau looking to do at that time, and what was kind of your scope?
Historically, Tableau wasn't as big in the kind of SaaS offering, more perpetual license of Tableau server and desktop. And then they came out with, the concept of Tableau Online, which over time was moved from kind of on-prem data centers to being hosted in the cloud. And that was around the time that I was brought in to focus on public cloud cost at Tableau, as I had experience in that area. I joined as they were working on doing some of those really large migrations, not only for customer kind of related infrastructure, but also, the internal infrastructure, all the development pieces. And so the problem that they were really facing was, this is a whole new world. Prior, very used to, if someone wanted to request infrastructure, it goes through kind of that standard process through IT, gets the approvals, the purchase order, all of those things. And the public cloud operates very differently. So it was really important for Tableau to make sure they had a handle on the visibility of that spend, and also being able to report that back to different departments and provide that cost visibility.
Yeah, that's great that they kind of had the foresight to do some of that deeper analysis up front and build that practice right from the get-go.
Yeah, I think that is definitely something that companies learn usually a little after the fact, once those bills start becoming larger and larger.
Were you always in multiple clouds, or how did that kind of multi-public cloud start?
Yeah, so I definitely have more exposure to that as I've been focusing across Salesforce at large. Salesforce has made a number of acquisitions over the years. Primarily, that's where you start to see different clouds come into the portfolio. And then Salesforce is a little more focused now on bringing, their core products to the public cloud, and that's where we're also seeing where we're offering the same products across multiple clouds. But the first kind of view into that was definitely through acquisitions, using different public cloud providers, and the really powerful thing is CloudHealth, brings that all together in a unified view. Something that we definitely couldn't do easily internally and quickly to keep things moving as the business is continuing to evolve and change, and as we're trying to integrate those mergers and acquisitions into the portfolio.
So then tell me a little bit about, how you were using CloudHealth from the capability standpoint to get that picture, whether from a pre-planning or from an ongoing run rate from Tableau, and how you're bringing some of those practices into your expanded role now at Salesforce.
Yeah, so I could kind of start with Tableau. When I came on board there, the budget was all held centrally by IT, but IT was a very small user of the actual public cloud. Tools like CloudHealth then can enable you to provide that visibility and start allocating those costs back, or being able to either show them back or charge them back to the individual teams and groups who are actually consuming the services. In the early days of joining Tableau, that was one of the main priorities, is let's make sure that we have this cost visibility and we're getting this information in the hands of the right people. And then that allows us to, have a budget in place that we're reporting to, and also to start, collecting information on quarterly forecasting. And everyone everyone has the tools, same set of tools that they're using, same visibility to plan going forward based on that information. Second to that focus, once we have a handle on that, is really where I shifted kind of gears to focusing on how do we optimize our cost, whether that's commitment-based approach that we make, and then also from kind of a governance resource level optimization. And so that's definitely something that we look to CloudHealth to leverage recommendations engines for those type of commitments, as well as opportunities for underutilized resources and kind of right sizing and optimizing there.
You brought up a really interesting point there. IT controlled the budget, but they were not the biggest consumer because it's typically the application teams, right? It sounds like what CloudHealth allowed you to do is like kind of give ownership in many ways to the application teams, but you were able to then kind of get a holistic view so that you can do like better negotiating on rates or finding the right size instance to get the best value.
Yeah, absolutely. I think prior to having a good tool in place, or even if you think about, being on-prem, those application teams didn't really have that insight. We didn't have a tool to bring that. So then as we were leveraging CloudHealth, as we're moving to the cloud, it helps to give that visibility to teams and also start to have them be accountable for that spend and plan for their spend.
So now that the visibility is there, and then you have an objective data source, what is the cycles that you have with those teams on kind of talking through the budget or forecasting and planning?
Yeah, so at Salesforce, that's definitely there are tons of teams and people involved. On an annual basis, we definitely partner closely with finance, who partners closely with their business partners to come up what the plans are for the years, a budget in place, and then we have one of those monthly checkpoints with finance and with the business on where spend is heading, and being able to get feedback from them on what's changing, what's happening that we expected or didn't expect, to kind of keep a constant conversation going around so that everyone knows what's going on, and that we continue to make decisions, whether it's around commitments where we can make sure that we're getting the best price for the utilization that we're having in the cloud, being able to support those teams.
That's awesome. And, are you part of a broader Cloud Center of Excellence team, or is it just a broader like cloud financial team, or how does that work?
It's actually kind of unique. The team that I'm on actually falls into sourcing, so kind of procurement area. At Tableau, I would say it was more of a kind of center of excellence. In my prior role, I had worked very closely with a cloud infrastructure engineering team, which really, deploying the guardrails for the cloud. Salesforce, as you can imagine, there's a number of different teams throughout the organization who kind of serve in those purposes. Our sourcing team is also, they do all of the purchases for around commitments that we have with the cloud, and as well as contracts. So that's a big focus of the team that I'm on now. And I joined this team in the fall, and then I'm specifically focused on resource level optimization and getting those opportunities out to the teams.
Yeah, I can only imagine with so many teams using various pockets of cloud usage that at a company that large, it's also a huge opportunity to get better rates, better purchasing power. This type of visibility is key. And it sounds like regardless of where you sat physically in the organization, the function and the interaction and the outcomes are similar.
Absolutely.
That's very cool. So tell me, what's next?
Like I said, my focus is on resource level optimization. So, I'm all about leveraging the different metrics that are available in CloudHealth and the policies that you can set up to identify those opportunities, and getting that information back to the teams. And then really the biggest challenge will be how do we scale that, across the organization.
Yeah, helping people make sure they're using all the stuff that they have, right? Or right sizing.
Correct. We want to make sure that we are getting the most out of our buck.
You've been using CloudHealth and doing cost optimization across a few different companies now, so you have quite a lot of experience here. As other organizations are, just starting in the cloud or maybe starting to go to their second cloud, what advice do you have?
If I kind of think of that evolution, definitely the first stop is visibility. So you can imagine if you don't have like a tool in place and you have presence in multiple clouds, gathering that data and getting a picture of it, that's going to take a lot of time and effort. Your spend is changing every day. So I think that's really the power of having a cloud management platform in place as there, and having that visibility enables you to start having conversations and making sure that the right teams are engaged, have visibility into their cloud operations. And then from there, I think is where you can start making sure that you're utilizing and getting kind of the most for your money. So, different clouds offer different commitment-based savings is a way you can make a really big impact if your focus is, on the cost component. And then over time, digging into the details a bit more, resource level optimization. But I think it's definitely a journey that happens over time.
So it sounds like what I hear from you is invest in tools early. So that you can have good visibility, so that you can have honest conversations that are objective. And then that way the discussions around tuning, adjustments can really be made from a source of data. And then you can kind of monitor those together with your stakeholders over time.
Absolutely.
Well, this sounds great. Thank you, Jenna, so much for joining us.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.